All right, so kind of carrying this discussion about Boruto Chapter 64 and talking about one of the main topics that I wanted to talk about was, is Boruto getting strong too fast? When you read this chapter and you saw Boruto going up against Code and saying that, hey, I'm not even going all out yet, and then Boruto starts going back up against Code, you start to think for a second, it's like, hey, is Boruto kind of creeping up in power a little bit too quick? Because we're looking at Boruto pre-time skip, right? And right now, Boruto is, in my opinion, compared to the rest of the cast, at least the other Genin/Chunins in his class, Boruto has outclassed every single one of them in a mere couple of weeks, right? This arc has only been around for a couple of weeks. The whole Ashiki arc with Kashin Koji and all that happened in a couple of days. So when you kind of think about it, Boruto was getting these power-ups very quick. He went from Boruto with no Karma Seal, and then we introduced the Karma Seal, and Boruto quickly jumped up in terms of power and what it can do. So I feel like after Boruto received the Karma Seal, we just sort of introduced him into this new realm to where he's going to be put on this pedestal to where he's quickly and slowly just climbing the ranks, and he's going to be on a higher level now because he has this Karma Seal that is granting him these powers that a lot of the people in Boruto cannot do. Now, the simple fact that he can absorb ninjutsu in itself is very powerful. The fact that he gets a speed and power boost is very powerful. Things like that just sort of bring Boruto to the next scale. Talking about the Karma Seal, we gotta talk about his Boroshiki-like state. Now, there's a clear difference between Boroshiki to where Momoshiki's taking over him and this new form that we're seeing in chapter 64. So we talk about Boruto being taken over by Momoshiki. We saw the power increase from that, right? We saw Momoshiki in Boruto's body fighting Boro and him actually defeating him quite easily and producing a giant Rasengan with the help of Naruto's chakra. Now, in my opinion, this was okay with me because even though it was technically Boruto's body, I feel like with this form in particular, it would be something that wouldn't be used very often. So it wouldn't actually be Boruto using it in his favor. It would be Momoshiki just using Boruto's body as a replacement for the time being. When we start to dive into Boruto actually being able to control this new Momoshiki-like state and get the added benefits that he originally had when he was first taken over by Momoshiki and giving him full control, I gotta say, man, that the power creep is insane because looking at Boruto fight Code, a lot of people are saying that Boruto might now even be on the same level as Naruto. Now, this statement is a little bit interesting for me because every time I see this statement, I don't ever see which Naruto people are talking about. I'm assuming people are talking about Shippuden Naruto. I don't know if they're talking about Hokage Naruto. I'm not really sure what form we're talking about. I tried looking a little bit more like deep into it, but I'm kind of curious to which Naruto we're actually comparing this new Boroshiki form to. But if we're talking about, I guess, the Shippuden one, then, you know, I can actually see that comparison at least being on that same level to like an early Shippuden Naruto. But even if we talk about that and just talk about how like the Boruto at his current age right now compared to, you know, Naruto at his age in, you know, the original Naruto before the time skip. If we talk about Boruto compared to that Naruto, Boruto has surpassed him clearly. Boruto with the Karma Seal being able to control that Boroshiki-like state is 10 times better than what Naruto was able to do at his age with Kirama. They're not even comparable just because I feel like the Karma Seal does give him that Otsutsuki boost and allow him to have more control of his power. So just in terms of like this power scaling, comparing the two series, it's kind of evident that Boruto is closing the gap between the two. So yeah, is he getting strong too fast? Yeah, the events happening in these arcs, they're not months apart, they're not years apart. These events are happening days apart, and Boruto went from being taken over by Momoshiki to now somehow controlling this form and now being able to at least hold his own for a little bit against Code. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, right? It's kind of something that I expected because I expect Boruto to surpass Naruto at some point. I don't think he surpassed Naruto now, talking about that Naruto versus Boruto discussion, but I suspect him to surpass Naruto at some point. And it makes sense if he does. I think having the Karma Cell is kind of the key to that, and the Jogan and everything like that. I think that's sort of the key for Boruto to surpass Naruto. But at this current state in time, with the power-ups that he's getting, he is very well on his way to overlapping his predecessors and getting to that higher level. Now, what does this really mean for the other cast members, right? I talk about this cyborg invasion that I think is going to happen, and how we have other cyborgs like Ada and Damon, which I feel like we've kind of forgotten about them for a little bit. Like, they've been in the background talking and Damon's sleeping, but we've kind of put them on the back burner for a little bit. But the thing is, let's say there's maybe one or two more cyborgs that get introduced to the story. Just let's say that's a hypothetical, right? Let's say that Code, Ada, and Damon, and maybe like one or two other people come to the Hidden Leaf Village and try to attack it. As of right now, in terms of the students that are on Boruto's level, there's really nobody else unless if Kawaki receives his karma again. So there's really no one else in the village that compares to where Boruto's at right now. There's no other like Genin or Chunin, and maybe possibly no Jonin that kind of scale to Boruto's level right now, and that I could really see even helping out Boruto in the future when that time comes. So one of the things with the power gap is that, and Boruto getting stronger, is that he needs that equal to sort of level it out. That way he has somebody that's kind of on his same level to either push him or help him out when the village is in danger. That's most likely going to be Kawaki, because Kawaki's gonna get the Karma Cell again. But based on the episode 1 preview, it seems like Kawaki's the bad guy. I don't think Kawaki will remain the bad guy forever. I think that the whole thing with Kawaki and Boruto fighting, I feel like that's a scene taken out of place to where eventually those two will understand each other and maybe they'll be on the same side. But just in terms of someone else being on Boruto's level, the only answer really is Kawaki and potentially Mitsuki and Sarada. So him mastering this form is definitely going to put him on that next level, and I think Boruto gaining these Otsutsuki powers is really going to help him out a lot. And we're kind of seeing now that the key to potentially beating Code without his limiters might actually be Boruto learning how to use this new form and harnessing these powers. Now, Code on his limiters seems like no joke, so I think that we're going to need somebody else potentially on the same or equivalent level to help Boruto, and that might have to be Kawaki in that case. Now, the one thing I want to point out again with this form is I don't want to reiterate the video I did prior to this one, but I feel like for right now, because Boruto's kind of getting strong too fast, they did throw in some side effects, such as him clutching his heart. I think that's sort of just a way to balance out him getting this new form now, and that later on down the line, Boruto will figure out how to combat these side effects, and that he won't have to be so tired from using the form, which is kind of my opinion on what's going on right now. But hey, that's kind of my thoughts about, is Boruto getting strong too fast so far in the series. Currently, it kind of seems that way, but I do think it's going to balance out or level out soon. Moving towards the time skip, it will be very interesting to see what other power-ups Boruto will be able to acquire, and if anybody else like Sarada or Mitsuki will be able to even keep up with Boruto. Same thing with Kawaki. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.